Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Ross here, and this game is called Ultimate General Civil War, the follow-on to the game of Ultimate General Gettysburg. The developer released Gettysburg kind of as a, I guess, test bed for this game. This game is a civil war in its entirety. So it has campaigns for both the North and the South, it has historical battles, and you can even do custom battles. Now, the gameplay is a lot how do you say, easier than in Gettysburg. Gettysburg was actually very technical. You had a lot of contour lines, you had line of sight like issues for everything from troops. Some things were really not balanced, and it was very hard to learn as a new player if you were trying to get into this game. This game is a lot more forgiving, if you may say, and it doesn't punish you as much. But if you go into the higher difficulties, it will be definitely challenging. So how you start a campaign is you just kind of hit the beginning, and you actually are going to choose what kind of general you are. And you can hear in the background about how it was in the Senate and things that were said, but nonetheless, these different things are kind of like role-playing in the sense, and determining what your general is good with. So army organization, reconnaissance, training, logistics, each one has different things. So we're going to choose tactician for myself, then we're going to go logistics and medicine, and then I'm going to go politics and economy. I'm going to go Confederate because that's, well, I think the more fun for me to do. Now, you can choose easy, which you get more gold and recruits, enemy strength is less, reputation drop is less, or you can go major general, which you get even less gold and recruits, enemy strength is way high, reputation is drop is way high as well. I would not really recommend this unless you are just somehow amazing at this game. I've played it, and I don't think I'm necessarily great at games like this, but nonetheless, I think I'm decent. This is challenging, to say the very least. And also campaign, because this kind of tracks your progress through the entire game. Now, how I'm actually going to do this gameplay is I'm going to do it in an like a AAR format. And what I mean by that is I'm going to actually play the games and play the battles and not record a voiceover, because it takes a lot to kind of, you know, manage all the different troops and trying to actually talk to you guys and be kind of entertaining at the same time as managing all the troops can prove to be difficult. And also, these battles can last a long time. So what I would like to do is do an AAR format where I'm going to speed up the gameplay and talk in a after commentary, and so you guys can kind of see what I do right and what I do wrong, and I critique myself and what I do, and then you can also critique me in the comments and tell me how much I suck. As we can see there here, this is what my general is good at though. We have 3 politics, 1 economy, 2 medicine, 0 in training, 1 army organization, 2 logistics, 1 reconnaissance. So we can go back if I'm not too happy with that, because I don't necessarily know if I like the fact that this training is so low. Training helps you actually afford veterans, and yeah, that's kind of beneficial. But I do like army organization, logistics, and reconnaissance, so I kind of think I'm going to stay with this for now. So as we hit begin, I'm going to just go silent, and also we're going to start the AAR format, and then you can join me later. So welcome to the AAR format, or the After Action Review. In this After Action Review, we will be going over what I do, what things went wrong, what things went right, and kind of just a overall synopsis of the battle. Now, it's a little bit easier to speak this way than doing it live, because when I'm doing it live, I am actually thinking about what I'm doing, and this will actually be able to be a format where I can actually talk to you guys and actually tell you what I'm thinking about as you watch it on the screen. Now, I'm being a little bit overzealous and definitely ballsy with my cavalry here, taking Croker into the Union sharpshooters to try to demolish that unit. Now, I don't know why I moved my general up so far, but nonetheless I did. And now I'm charging the cavalry into 180 cavalry into 218 skirmishers. I should not have done that. I was definitely overestimating the power of the charge, and well, the skirmishers were able to not only defend against the charge, but make my cavalry rout and run away like a bunch of pansies. But I did keep them engaged for long enough for the other regiments to get online and attack. But the skirmishers seem to be running faster than my units can run. It just might be that they're a little bit faster. So I moved my general over there to get the cavalry kind of to morale back, but nonetheless, for whatever reason, they just disintegrated right there and disappeared. I thought I actually saved them. They were not blinking anymore and they were able to be moved, but nonetheless the morale just diminished. I don't know if that was the first Ohio that came down. I don't think so, but nonetheless they got destroyed, and that's really sad because it's a unit that you'll never see again. When a unit is destroyed in this game, they are gone, and they are gone forever. Now you could always buy a new unit and buy a new unit of cavalry, but that costs money and that costs men, and if you could save even 100 men is worthwhile in this game. Now, this game does remind me of another game that is 20 years old, and that is a game that was released by Sierra Games in 1996 called Robert E. Lee Civil War General. And it's a game that I used to play on my gateway computer freaking for hours on end. And then it also had predecessors as well. There was another game in 1997 that was Civil War General 2, I believe, which basically looked exactly like Civil War General, the first one, but they just renamed it, and I think they had a couple different extra campaigns on it. Nonetheless, I played the shit out of that, but I only played as the Confederates because the Union was it had a lot of men, but man, to their units as routes, and they were just not trained, and it was very irritating. Just as you're seeing now, is that the Union is routing. That's one thing I don't know if is accurately portrayed in this right now is the morale bonuses for the Confederacy versus the Union. Now, it's really hard to put it in numbers, and it's really easy to talk from a historical standpoint that the Confederate troops were usually a little bit more robust, a little bit more veteranized. Definitely there was more veterans of the Mexican War that were present in the Confederate Army. More of the generals went to the Confederates, more of the officers did than they went to the Union, and even the ones that did go to the Union, they were a little bit more on the less experienced side, except for some like Grant and Sherman. Nonetheless, and I don't even know if Grant and Sherman were in Mexico. I think Grant was. But that's where a lot of the officers that were present in the Civil War got a lot of their experience from, was the battles in the 1850s in Mexico. And that's where they got their battle experience. And then you're talking about not even 10 years later, they're fighting another war, but they're fighting on American soil. Now, I'm playing as the Confederates, and it doesn't mean that I support anything the Confederacy actually wanted. Nonetheless, I find it a little bit more fun to play with. It's just how I guess I like to play. They're usually a little bit more veteranized units. They usually have very big issues with supply, which is very representative in this game. And I have not really played with the Union troops here, but I imagine it's probably pretty easy. And we all know that the one great thing about all war simulators is trying to win the war with the faction that lost. Just like in Hearts of Iron 4, we like to play with Germany, we like to play with Japan, we like to play even with China. And the reason being is because those countries did not win the war for their actual sense. Now, China kind of did, but definitely not very well. I mean, they got brutally murderized there. Now, the one thing you missed there when I was talking is we just captured a Union regiment, and that Union regiment is now part of us. Now, we can't fight with them, so when you capture a unit, meaning if you actually capture an artillery unit or infantry regiment, you actually have to withdraw those troops. If you don't withdraw them, they could rout or they could join back with the enemy faction. I've never actually tried it, so I really can't tell you for sure, but the one thing you do is just withdraw it and they become prisoners of war. Once they become prisoners of war, you can actually trade them for, well, manpower, and also you get all their guns, which in this game, weapons and actually upgrading your regiments is probably very important in the long-term game aspect of it. And that's how and why this game reminds me of Robert E. Lee Civil War General, is because the same thing was present in that game. If you did well, you got extra money and extra supplies, and you were able to buy better and better weaponry. And where your Confederate troops were always outmanned, you could have some serious artillery that was way better than it was ever in historical elements. And also your troops could be armed to the teeth with some of the latest technology, which in the later years of the war, the Union was and the Confederate really wasn't. The Confederacy was sometimes, fighting with muskets they got all, from the side of their barn, where the Union had the most up-to-date, not for the entire army, but there was different regiments out there that had some amazing weaponry. And well, hopefully we do well enough in all our battles that we can see that. Now, I've played this before, in the sense that I played a couple missions to get familiarized with the game before I started a series, just so I could, see what the game was, to see if I liked it. Now, with that, there are some other things that kind of go in play, is I really did not go far in it because I wanted to make sure everything was good. But I have not lost a battle, but there's a definite possibility that I could lose a battle here. I mean, to think that I could go this entire Civil War without losing a single battle would be very, I guess, I don't even know what the word would be for that, but I would be living in a definitely fantasy world for sure. As you can see here, I tried to charge into this base and take the 1st Ohio group. I did make the 1st Ohio route, but my guys routed as well. I don't understand why, but I don't really watch this entire condition and morale right there. You can see morale, cover, and condition. So the morale obviously affects their willingness to fight. The condition is if they're exhausted or not, if you're running, which I do have my troops running quite a lot. Now we just finished the first part of part 2, or part 1 of 2 of this, and here is part 2, where I have hopefully reinforcements coming in, and there is a whole bunch of Union troops that are coming to attack me. Now I own the fort, and my units here now are the ones that need to defend. So my units are defending, and I don't know if you noticed, but I sure as hell noticed that I actually lost a unit. I did have a skirmisher unit that it's not present anymore, but I gained 2 artillery units, and now we have 3 regiments online, and we're going to send these skirmishers out here into the cornfields, into the trees, to delay as best as we can the Union advance. We can see my artillery batteries up on the fort are targeting the ironclads. Ironclads weren't really present in the beginning of the war, but nonetheless, there's 2 ironclads off the side, or off in the river of the Potomac, and we need to destroy them with our cannons. And the one thing you also will notice is the very high-pitched, almost like Mickey Mouse sounding guys. That's just because when I increase the speed, this is 200% speed, so 2 times normal gameplay speed. And if I don't do this, it's going to be very long to watch, but there's only 2 ways I can do the audio. Is either I can try to edit the tone of the audio or not. If I do edit the tone, high-pitched noises that you should be high-pitched sound very low and dull, and also muffled. Like the marching sounds very muffled. Right now, it sounds pretty good to me. And also the firing of the cannons seems way off. If I don't edit the tone, everything sounds really good. The cannon sounds good, the actual shots from the musket sound good. The only thing that doesn't really sound good is everyone going, retreat, retreat. That doesn't sound good. So here we have our 3 skirmishers that actually were part of the regiments that are on the fort walls. You can actually detach and attach these skirmishers back and forth. So all these are just regular soldiers that we are just detaching just for a moment. And we can see here in the northern Grant here in this regiment, and probably not General Grant, but nonetheless a Grant regiment is charging into the fort, and we are using our cannons plus our different regiments here to try to defeat them off, and morale is gone, and they're off running away. And I'm going to actually move the 1 regiment from the eastern wall. I'm going to move it over to the western wall, and we're going to switch off here. And that's just so I can have the most freshest troops and also the most numerical troops on that wall that's actually facing an enemy. Now these guys down up there in the cornfields are doing their job, and they just got charged. Holy crap, let's run away. One is stuck in melee combat, and I don't think they're going to make it out of there. But we have some new units that are coming up, and we're going to put them in line right there. And now I'm going to also tell my other units to reattach back to their regiments, because, well, we don't want them just to get massacred for no reason. And they didn't make it. But one of them, 35 of them make it back. So that's good. So that's one danger. Those guys were really just delay things. They were basically, how do you say, a road bump for the Union troops, just to delay them a little bit so we can actually get these reinforcements up online. If I wasn't so bold early on in that gameplay with that cavalry regiment, the cavalry regiment would be very useful right about now with those cannons actually shooting me from the west. They're so far out there that I can't see them, and also my troops are so slow there's no reason to take a regiment of 400 men and try chasing after those troops, because it just would take way too long. So what I'm thinking right now is getting these guys online here in these cornfields. Even though I'm getting flanked, I don't like how I'm getting flanked by artillery fire. I hope that's not really affecting my morale as much as getting flanked by an actual regiment. It's actually really hard to flank, and here I'm trying to flank, but we're not seeing any flanking messages on them. I don't know if we don't get flanking messages on the enemy troops, but I'm trying to flank them. I'm definitely shooting them in their rear, and now they have readjusted their lines, and now they're actually charging us, which is interesting. We actually have 2 regiments charging, so well, I guess we're gonna just overcommit everything into this massive melee combat. Nope, they're charging our lines up here as well. Back on the walls, and I'm trying to get my supply wagon up there out of the kind of area of being captured. Getting your supply wagon captured is definitely a sure way of running out of ammo. I've yet to run out of ammo permanently in a battle, but I've definitely had the enemy run out, and I've definitely gotten close as well. That supply of that 120 does tick down, and I'm overcommitting my troops massively right now. Trying to kind of force them off, and now is just coming into an idea that might not be a great idea, as both my regiments in the south get kind of their morale crushed, and also my other unit is way too far forward of the lines, so I'm trying to get him back. I'm moving my general a little bit closer to try to encourage that unit to stay in the fight, and now I'm going to take these 2 units and move them just across that fence there. Now, I don't necessarily know if the fencing and the roads actually give you any defensive benefits. I would hope that they do, because those terrain elements in battle sometimes are the best things to use, especially in the Civil War. Like the Battle of Antietam was historic about having a sunken road that the Confederates used, and you know, those kind of ideas of just using the terrain around you for defensive objects is very much the idea between cover and concealment. And I'm trying to use some concealment here as I move Alan into the trees. I really don't think it's going to work because they can be seen. And I'm trying to just turn these units back, because you can see that my units here are firing into their back. They're not really getting that many kills per volley, but it's definitely taken a toll at them. Let's see, next one, yeah, it took like 10. Let's see, 602... Okay, that was almost 20, but I do have 4 different regiments firing at one here, and we're just trying to kind of whittle away at that. We can see there's a supply wagon right there. If I could capture that supply wagon, that would be awesome, but the supply wagons are massively fast. One, because, well, they're horses and wagons, and it wouldn't be expected that your infantry regiment should be able to capture them. Again, if I still had that cavalry regiment, that would be very useful right now to capture that damn freaking supply wagon. So 1 cavalry would have been useful to get rid of the artillery, as well as capture the supply. So very early on, that mistake has cost me already. Even the extra 100 cavalry could have definitely helped out, even if it was just capturing the supplies. Now, my cannons are doing pretty good. It seems that the ironclads are done. They are working on the troops, which is very good. We're going to pull back these troops again. to kind of try to save the integrity of them and save the numbers and the casualties, because I don't need the casualties, I just need to hold on here. And we can look at the upper right hand corner of the actual game itself. It says 38 minutes. This is not 38 minutes of real in-game time, this is 38 minutes in the game time. And you can see that in the center of your screen. Right now it's 13:24, and now it's 13:25, 18:61, 29 May, 13:26. As you can see, the time is elapsing pretty rapidly. So that's good for us, because then it means that we don't have to be present for a 12-hour battle. Now, I really don't know how I feel about my use of these units down here, as I really think I should have moved them into the fort and used them from there. I'm moving my units out here, trying to kind of push these troops away. What I'm actually thinking right now is about capturing units. I am so confident in my abilities that I think that I could capture units and then just make it that much more of a decisive win for me, when the only thing I technically have to do is hold the coastal fort, and that's it. So the least amount of casualties I took that would be the better aspect. So staying inside the fort and not being in an open field engagement with the Union would probably have been the better option for me. But nonetheless, I still made yet another regiment run away, and that makes me feel good inside when I see those blue coats just running away. And so I want to continue this press, as I have 4 different regiments firing on this one regiment here, taking them down to 384 right now, and we have 2 more on the northwestern wall marching up here, and we can see those cannons out there. And this is pretty much the end of the battle. We have 8 minutes left, and there's a message that pops up that says, do you want to leave the battle or not? I would highly recommend, unless you're about to capture a unit or you're about to capture a supply wagon, if you play this game, just end it, because every casualty does count, and you don't get necessarily more men for killing more. The only thing you do is well, less men. So keep that in mind, end the battles on time, and hopefully we get this popping up, and then boom, we hit finish. 4,100 deployed, 2,500 lost, and we killed 4,100 ourselves. Our top unit, 838 kills, which is awesome, and we captured some stuff as well. So we load in after the battle, and we see that we earned a Civil War campaign medal. We exchanged those 389 prisoners for 668 additional recruits. We earned 3 reputation. We also had 2,900 reinforcements. Our total reinforcements, we can see it's a number 3568, and we have $48,500 on hand. And this is back on real time, as you can see me selecting the different upgrades and repairing the units as I add reinforcements. Now you can add different kinds of reinforcements. You can change their weaponry, you can change between veteran and rookie. If you add rookie, you can see that it does take away from that star. Underneath that star is a kind of experience bar, and as you increase rookie, you take it away. Okay, so right now that 1,500 has taken away that, and now I'm going to select a veteran probably, or I'm going to go down there. Yep, so I notice the star, so we're going to go down to where the rookies start being disadvantaged, and thank goodness I didn't make the mistake before. So just take the rookies in that much, same rifle. You can select a whole bunch of different rifles, and now I'm going to select the rest to be veterans, save some cash, but also save that experience bar. But it is going to cost more, especially since I don't have any points into training. If I did, it would save me some money on that. Here we are in the armory, and I'm selling some of the captured weapons. I have reboard weapons. Also, I have a couple of the Springfield M1855s. I'll be keeping those. Also, we have some hunter rifles, which are from the skirmishers that we overran. We're going to sell those as well. One thing that you need to do is also increase your supplies. So there's a supply represented by the number 7,764. That actually controls how much supply that your guys have that they actually go into battle with. 25,000 is a full supply, as well as your supply wagons will then be increased as well. So I'm going to put all of my leftover money into there to make sure that they all have ammo to go into the fight. Now we're seeing the career points. This is where I can add to all those different things, the training, the medicine, the economy that we chose in the beginning about how our general is kind of shaped and molded over the years. Now we're going to decide which one to put our career point into. I could go into training, I could go to recon, and the recon I'm choosing is because now I get a picture about what the enemy looks like before battle. What we're looking at now is the next mission, the next battle, you would say. And the next battle is called the Battle of Newport, and that will be on episode 2. Now, if you guys did like this episode, if you like this new format and this new series, please hit that thumbs up, show me some love, leave a comment below, tell me what you think about it, tell me what you like, and also what you don't like. Now, if you mention something that you don't like, please tell me how you would change it. Don't just say, I don't like X, Y, and Z. Tell me what I could do differently. If you did like it, thank you so much. As always, though, I'm the Flying Ross, and I'll check you guys next time.